All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Group Chart Analysis. It is Monday, June 18th, 2018. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Some of you are new, some of you are not new, but I'm just going to keep it real with you guys. How I do this chart analysis is just pretty much, I'm going to tell you what I'm seeing, and I'm going to explain a little bit in detail of why exactly I believe it's going to do it. Because I could sit here forever all day and literally tell you why all these pairs are going to be going over. But I ain't got time for that, and nor do I want to go over every single pair, because that's just a bunch of horse shit. You don't really need that much. You just need one pair to do one good thing, and guess what? Back out. So, with that being said, let's go over the pairs that I like to look at, and hopefully you guys can see some potential in possibly grabbing some sort of pips off of it, if you will. So, let me move this here. Let's start with EU. Let me delete these boxes because they're in the way. Delete. There you go. And then delete. Come on. Bam. All right, cool. So this is Euro USD. This whole past month it was dropping. Last week, I believe, in the last couple weeks actually, we saw this row up here at the very bottom. It formed a new low, shot up, and I was expecting it to actually have shot down about around this area after it retested that 13 EMA, but it did not. It extended up, shot up for the whole 3 days actually. A lot of people I know caught those amount of pips. And then we had last week FOMC, and that's what caused this massive drop. So my analysis on this was there's two possible things, right? So one possible thing is that because Euro USD is the base pair of Forex, right? Like it's the most commonly traded pair in all Forex. They throw the cleanest patterns. Euro USD throws M's, W's, head and shoulders, and inverted head and shoulders like it's life dependent on it. They're so clean. That's why when last week came up around here, that's why I was expecting it to shoot down, because normally it doesn't just form a railroad like that and then skyrocket. It won't do that. It won't do that. It's going to come down to retest. And last week, that retest happened. Now, it didn't happen in the way that we wanted it to, but I did tell you guys that technicals can move and the market makers can make their moves inside of the news. So if you overall know the patterns and the structures of each individual pair, you can actually predict the future movements just based off a simple technical analysis. W's, M's, head and shoulders, all of that shit. So I definitely expect you guys to start seeing. So after it dropped here, it formed that type of W motion, right? It didn't take out the low. It still has a retest. So because it didn't take out the low, this is still valid for a buy. I don't like the way it especially on the daily right now. I mean, it isn't divergent for it to continue up. That's why overall, I told you like these pairs link to the most basic forms of patterns. And my prediction overall over this next month, going into, what is it, June, so going into July, I expect Euro USD to be rising. All right, it's my initial call. I say that because of the head and shoulders that's potentially coming. You got the left shoulder, you have the head, and then you have the soon-to-be right shoulder, which is going to be what I have predicted to shoot up to the most recent resistance zone that with the left shoulder presented. That's normally how the patterns go. Now all I'm going to be doing is looking for the patterns that are going to give me that excuse to look for this thing to be a buy. In regards, if there is no reason for this to be a buy, which we can go to the higher time frames, this is the other reason. Oh, is that Josh? He's the only person I know that would do that. Now, here's the thing, ready? So I told you guys we were looking for a possible buy on Euro USD because of that double bottom, because it didn't take out the low. It looks good. It's oversold, all yada, yada, yada. But here's the thing. On the weekly, it says a little different. And this is where I'm kind of waiting to see what happens, because I like to look at the RSI. I like to look to make sure that things are moving in the right direction. And one thing that I notice is, first off, there is divergence. All right, so for those of you that don't know what divergence is, get to know it, because divergence is literally how I make my money. And it's how I'm able to predict the movements in the market. You have RSI hitting a freaking roof right now. It is not falling. It's not slightly going up. It is hitting a dead line of just price won't break it, right? But on the chart here, you see that it's going up. Why is the price of the candlesticks going up, and why is the RSI, which is the relative strength index, which is real price in the actual market, why is it not going up with the market? You need to be doing something. So this is telling me, hey, this is going to be some sort of drop, right? It dropped. And normally when this pattern happens after this type of divergence, that's when I start looking for the head and shoulders to appear. Divergence is the very first signal of a head and shoulders. That's how I've always done it. I'm very accurate with it. It works every time. But you have to wait for this drop, because let's just say there's some sort of news. This thing could continue down. And that's kind of what I'm seeing right now on the RSI. If it pulls back, it's going to have to like shoot up, because this RSI right now, to me, unless it consolidates this whole week and does nothing, is pretty much telling me that this is going to be a continuation drop, which is why I'm like kind of hesitant with it right now, because like it's not the cleanest pattern of all. Even on the 4-hour, it looks ugly as shit. Like this RSI is fucked. Like I don't like the look of it. In order for this to be a valid buy for me, honestly, if we're looking for precision here, in order for me to actually want this to be a buy, I need this high taken out right here. If that high is not taken out, I don't know, like, ideally how we can say, yep, 100%. Because if you could buy it, but it could bounce off this 200 EMA, off of the resistance, and it literally could just continue down and break that low and just pull back and continue. But until that doesn't happen, or until this happens, I don't even want to say look for this to be a buy. So the only way I would say look for a buy, break the resistance, come back, retest it, and then shoot up. Because this Mayo here on the 4-hour, it's not actually the daily on the water on the daily, but if it breaks that water, if it breaks that Mayo on the 4-hour, guys, it's going to come back to retest it. It's going to come back to retest it, and if it does do that, I can bet you up like $10 billion that it's going to shoot up to that high. If it breaks that on the 4-hour. If it doesn't, it can continue down. So now you have to kind of wait and see exactly what's going to happen. So it's either going to break that high, and I'll even go down to the hour, if you will. It's either going to break this high overall, long term, retest it, come up to the next resistance zone, and then form that big pattern for the right shoulder and then drop. Right? So this will be over the next few weeks to a month. Or it shoots up, forms this semi-bearish pendant, bearish flag, right? And then it just drops hard again and looks for that pullback to retest and go. Okay, we're going to have to see exactly what's going to happen here. I don't really like the way it looks. But as of right now, when you look at a pattern like this, I mean, shit, you got no choice but to follow.
It's at a really critical level right now, too.
Yeah. So it's
because I had the same thing, honestly. I had it going to like 1.12, but it really just depends on what it does there. But I agree 100%. It's going to go eventually up long term to that 1.2 area.
So these are the zones that I have right now right here. And if it follows this to a T, this pair might consolidate for a little bit more. So it might come down, come up, come down, come up. And then it's either going to break it hard, retest, then drop again, or it's going to continue up, retest here, and then shoot up to this next high. If we're playing intraday trading. So we got to wait for these little intraday. For those of you that like to trade every single day, this is exactly what you have to look for. It's either going to break out of this channel to the upside, you're going to wait for it to pull back, which if it does pull back, that's where it's going to go. It's going to retest that Mayo right here. And you're going to look for that buying potential right here up to the next EMA, which will be the blueberry about there. All right, so that would be your ideal setup if you're looking for a buy short term. For sell, you would have to wait for it to break the channel that it's forming right now. Okay, so just that's what you got to look on Euro USD. If you don't see it, don't trade it. Or if you're really long swing trader on the monthly, I mean, it's going to drop a little bit more, but it has to pull back. So, all right, so that's Euro USD, and I don't plan on doing that for every single pair. That was probably the longest analysis I've had on Euro USD for a little bit. UChief was kind of interesting. UChief and Euro USD are correlate. They invert, or they correlate invertedly. I don't know how to say that. If Euro USD goes up, UChief is going down. UChief goes up, Euro USD is going down. But it shot up. Right here, it actually formed a new high on the weekly. It pulled back to the catch-up, shot up again. So overall, I mean, just off of this, a couple things could happen on the daily going to the weekly. It can come down, retest that water again, which is the 50 EMA, and come up and shoot up to the recent high. Or it could pull back to the catch-up here and shoot up to the recent high. I still think it's going to be a buy short term. Let me look at this 4 hour real quick. Yeah. So let me see this real quick. If this is the new high, we're good. Ooh, it broke it. See the pins? I don't care that it retested it. That's a new high. That's a new high right there. So if this is ideal, if this is what we're going to be looking for, y'all are going to be looking for this thing to shoot down, bounce off this 50 EMA on the weekly. So I'm going to say tonight, right, going to tonight, following the London session, New York session, you're going to be looking for this thing to shoot down towards that 50 EMA, which if we do this right, should be around, for those of you that are anal about, like, you know, price movements. Well, what point exactly, Ryan? Well, tell me. Well, I'll tell you. Probably about like the 0.99091 area. So 99 around this area, just the zone in general, right about there. That's ideally what I would be looking for. Let me delete here. Delete, annotate. Okay. Let's go to the hour. Yeah, see this too, because normally the EMAs play in correlation to one another. So when it breaks one EMA, it goes down to the next one. So because of the fact it broke the water, the next EMA, guys, that it's going to hit is the Mayo. Right? Going to hit that Mayo and eventually shoot up. So that's why I'm saying around this zone is where it's going to be shooting down to. And there's no divergence on the 1 hour. I didn't see anything on the 4 hour. This is just letting me know, like, hey, whichever way it's going to keep going in that direction until it hits that next zone that it's going to shoot off of. And I predict, let me see this 4 hour. 4 hours not even divergent. This is just a simple pullback. On the TDI, for those of you that don't know the TDI, the stationary 50 that you see right here is actually in direct correlation with this EMA 50. So every time it touches the stationary, it touches the EMA 50. So my exact reason as to why I'm saying it's going to shoot down to the EMA 50 on the chart here is because every time it crosses this market baseline and it starts making its way back down, it always hits the 50. And if it hits that 50, it's going to hit this 50. So that means if we're looking at this on a 4 hour time frame, and you guys are like, well, how many pips is that? Well, from where it's at right now to where it's going to ideally go is about 30 pips. You have about 30 pips. That's about a scalp. I would say it's like a nice scalp / intraday trade. How long you like to hold trades, but right now, I would definitely be looking for like sells until it hits that zone. Let me see something. I kind of want to add this one real quick. I like to use 144 moving average sometimes. What I've noticed is that if price doesn't hit the Mayo, I've always noticed something where before it hits that Mayo, it will sometimes reverse and never hit it. And I'm like, what the fuck? Why didn't it hit it? And then I looked at the 144. I got it from a friend who learned it from a well-known professional traders like me, Kirk, whatever. He's been trading for 20 plus years. The banks use the system, and he used the 144. And I realized that every single time that price reversed before it hit the Mayo, it was always bouncing off the 144. And I was like, shit, I think I found my EMA. And I was like, yes, this is perfect. So if it does not hit the Mayo and it does shoot down, it's probably going to shoot down. Like I said, look at the zone I just drew. It's perfectly lined up within the actual 144 in the Mayo. So stick to that zone. But then guess what? You're going to be looking for buys overall. That's what I said. That's my guess. All right, GU. Overall downtrend. Broke the water.
We get this.
It was already going down. How are people muted, but their voices are still going through? That makes no sense. So it's broke through the Mayo, double top, divergent as shit. It's below the stationary 50. There's no the volatility bands. Volatility bands are the Bollinger Bands. So if none of you know how to use the Bollinger Bands, the wider they go, the more volatile the market gets. So the wider they get, the more movement there is. It broke through the water. It broke through the stationary 50. And there's really nothing here telling me that it's going to be shooting up right now. Now, this is the weekly, so it could take some time, but let's break it down to the daily. It did shoot down. So for those of you that actually did take this, I did say last night on our chart analysis, I said, if you guys are looking for this to be anything, it's a sell that right back down to the recent low. Look where it went. It wicked right to the bottom. Literally precise. We couldn't have gotten any more perfect than that. So now it's formed this double bottom. It's holding, it's supporting, it's not breaking it. This is where price can get a little sticky. This is where things can kind of go a little bit different if you're not patient. Now, on the daily, it's oversold. It's not divergent, which is not something I like, but it is oversold and it is throwing a double bottom type pattern. Now, if that happens on the daily, you ideally want to be looking for this to shoot up towards the water, which will ideally be lined up with what? The recent high. Because by the time that water comes around and forms the pattern and comes down, that's where price is going to be. Right at the recent weekly high, which is the recent resistance, and that's where the water is going to be. So if we're looking for this to be a buy, guys, that's going to be your take profit. That's going to be the zone it's going to get. And until it breaks it, it's either going to retest it and then drop back down again for the recent low, or what? Break that EMA 50, break that resistance, and then what? Come back, retest it, and then you can go to the next one. But that is not guaranteed. This is overall a downtrend. I still think the downtrend is more powerful than the uptrend right now, so that you can actually grab some tips. So if you guys want to play this for a short term, I mean, wait for it to hit these EMAs and drop it down. But right now, I think it's doing some crazy shit. Linwood, I muted him. Can't hear. I muted it. Can you guys good now? I muted him, so we're good. So ideally, this is what I could possibly see happening. It's getting ready to start somewhat for me. Bounced off of the oversold zone. So if this shoots up, it's going to shoot up, retest that water, and then come up and hit that Mayo, right? So that's ideally what we would want to be looking for. It's going to come up. If it retests that water, it's going to go up to that Mayo, which is right next to the recent daily high, recent weekly high, if you will. But if you guys are really understanding on how to play these patterns the right way, if this is going to be a proper W, right? If this is going to be a proper double bottom, same thing as EU. It has to take out the high to then retest it and shoot up. So if you want the most precise entry for a buy, that's what you're waiting for. Other than that, if it comes up here and it shoots up, guess what? Still a downtrend. Still a downtrend. I don't care if it's double bottom. There's you ever heard of a triple bottom? Can come right back down and retest it one more time. So until it is done breaking this high and pulling back, because that's the market, that this is called an uptrend, boom, 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 boom. It's going to pull back. That's what you're going to wait for, and that's what you're going to load the lots up on if it decides to reverse. If it doesn't, continue with the trend. You won't lose. Game over. Muting you now. Okay. Oops. There we go. All right, let's go to UJ. Fucking UJ. This pair was upsetting a lot of people last week. I have it already drawn up here. It's wedging. That's why it's kind of been doing the thing. The EMAs are really tight. For those of you that don't know my EMAs, the exponential moving averages that I use are the 5 to 13, the 50 to 200, 800. Imagine a rope, right? If the rope is really tight, kind of like the EMAs are right now, can you move the rope? No. Why? Because it's really tight. There's tension. It's ripped. Market's not going to really move. Very low amount of volatility. But if the rope is loose, you can jump rope, right? You can move it. It's flexible. The market will move. Same shit here. If the EMAs are this tight, don't expect shit to move. It's not gonna. This is when people like to consolidate. You know the terms buy. Buy low, sell high, fringing, consolidation. This is the time to do that. This is when trend lines, support, resistance lines, they all come into major effect here because you're just selling when it hits the resistance and you're just buying when it hits the support. Same shit as the trend, as with the trend lines. But if you don't use the EMAs, you're never really gonna know, unless you are just a pro at this shit and you actually understand the market structure. But overall, I still thought I had this. Look, it hit the resistance, came back down, shot up. It's fringing right now. The EMAs are really tight. This could literally do whatever the fuck it wants. It can come right here if you want to be real and come down here, hit the water, continue up, then bounce down. If it wants to be even better, it can come all the way down, retest that low, then come all the way back up and just stay in between here, yada, yada, yada. But because if it's in this situation, you see the thing is on the 4 hour last week, I had this thing for an overall head and shoulders, just like most people. Left shoulder, head, thought this was going to be the right shoulder. Boom, had news, shot up, continued. But now it's starting to form something else. Let me look at this hour. If we're looking at the hour for like a Oh, someone's drawing. Nice little shark fin there. So the one thing that I'm seeing right here, damn it, Josh, or whoever that is. One thing I'm seeing here is divergence, first off, if you guys notice this. From here, all the way across, price is not broke. So that means from here, all the way up, price has been going up. Something's going to happen. Now, this could be the head and shoulders that I predicted weeks ago, and now it's just finally deciding to make its move. Price will do that. Shit's crazy. But it is in that fringing. It is in consolidation overall. I do predict this thing to be a nice drop. And it just dropped right now, actually. So there's a JPY news. I don't think there was even news, but it dropped, breaking that EMA. So if we're looking for this to be ideal, consolidation, retest, drop, guaranteed, going to that blueberry. So I'm going to say, look for the sell. Look for the sell. That's what we're going to be looking for. But it has to meet the criteria. Has to meet it. Because look at this. Let's draw this. Bang, bada, boom. Let's see if it broke. Oh, it broke it. It broke it. Y'all know what happens when price breaks a resistance in it or a support trend line. You got it. You're drawing it. Did a little late as I switched it, but it's going to drop. So wait for it, you technical freaks. And I'm a technical freak too. Don't worry. We're all freaks. AUD. Been dropping since NOM, since we called it back here. It literally has been in the sell for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days. So whoever caught that sell up here the night we called it, literally off of these trend lines, y'all better still be in profit because this was guaranteed. This drop was guaranteed. Why? Because it was forming that bearish pendant. And what happened, or flag channel, however you want to call it. And normally the next drop is similarly the same length as the previous drop. The same as the flagpole. They're identical, ideally. And it was an ultimate downtrend. This was the new low. This was the previous low. It took out the new low, formed a new high, and guess what it just did? It formed a new low. Formed a new low. Right? Now, I still believe that it's going to be able to do something a little bit different. As in, like, you know, it's got to consolidate now. It's breaking the low. It could break down a little bit more. It is oversold, so it is due for a pullback. So I do expect some sort of movement. Look at that. It didn't even close beneath it. What I'm going to have to predict here, guys, is a consolidation, maybe a W pattern, maybe like a stop hunt low to retest this pattern right here, and then a shot up, pullback. Shot up again. We can be looking for this thing to be a nice little buy. But that's short term. Long term, overall downtrend, anything going up is a pullback. So if you want to look for the most precise entry, guys, wait for that shit to rise and then blah, watch it tank. Watch it tank. Look at the divergence on the hour. You guys see it? Price is going down. That means something's happening. Means something's going to happen to price. What's that mean? Oh, we should probably watch it. Oh, and guess what? There's news in 6 minutes. So we're about to see what the fuck's going to happen. Either it's going to drop down, break the low and continue, or it's just going to not really move at all, just consolidate, or it's going to skyrocket, hit the water, come back down, retest it for a W, shoot it, break it, retest it, go up again. Bing, bada, boom. That's probably what it's going to do. We'll see how it looks. The divergence going here. Now, the key thing that I want you guys to wait for is when this RSI breaks out of the volatility band, because that's pretty much like price opening up the Bollinger Bands and extending the shot up, which is going to create more volatility. It's going to actually push the magnitude of that uptrend faster. So it's a good position to get. We'll come back on this. We'll see how this one plays out because it happens in 5 minutes. So whoever's sitting there at their computer right now, patiently waiting to click that buy or sell button, wait. GJ. Let's see. Overall, I've been saying it was going to be a drop since last week, ever since this whole bullshit shenanigans stuff went through. I mean, it was retesting the Mayo for God knows how long, for like 2 weeks, pissing me off, pissing people off. And it finally decided to drop. Couple things. Let me see this low right up there. So it's retesting this low. I still have this thing going for a drop. It could shoot up, but it needs to be able to do something real quick. I think this thing is going to be an overall drop. It did form this wick down here, so it could shoot down and not take out that low. There's a couple of things that could happen, right? Either it's going to continue down, because right here, guys, that's an M. That's an M. Overall, when patterns form, it's a new low. Ready? So we all know basic Forex here. This is basic shit. Ready? I'm about to drop some basic knowledge on you guys. You got a high, you got a lower low. You got a lower high, you got a lower low. You got a lower high. What the fuck is next? Either a new low or something that's going to start shooting down towards the low, and if it doesn't take it out, maybe a pattern to then shoot up and possibly see the reversal. That's a possibility, but it's still a little early, in my opinion. If we're looking for precision. Now, overall, let's look at this monthly. Even on monthly, I still think this thing's going to drop. It's just throwing all these patterns. This is perfect. And it was divergent on the daily, I believe. Look at this. Remember I told you guys, what's a head and shoulder, right? Divergence is the beginning phases of a head and shoulder, right? Well, my friends, left shoulder, head, drop, forms new low. After a new low comes a new high. Pull back, right shoulder. It's right shoulder. It's why is it a right shoulder? Because it didn't take out the peak. Drop, new low. This whole drop over the last month and a half was literally perfect. If you had been on my analysis, y'all should have been trading this for a sell for the last 2 months. Just saying. On a long-term scale. Short term, I mean, you could have done your scalping, your intraday trades, whatever y'all prefer. But I just was like, this is a downtrend. And it's still a downtrend. Like, it's still, in my opinion, I still think this thing is going to shoot down a little bit more. And the only way for me to actually look at this to be a buy is if it comes down, doesn't take out this low, or it does take out the low and it is majorly divergent on the TDI. And when that happens, it shoots up hard. Right? Either way, in order for me to at least start looking for this thing to be a buy, I need it to drop a little bit. So this could be a nice long-term swing for a buy, but before that happens, we need to wait for a few more things to happen. So I'm going to stick with my analysis and what's worked for me and say that this thing could potentially shoot down still into the oversold zone on the 4 hour. And look, it broke that resistance on the hour. So, I mean, and it's still below stationary 50. It's a downtrend. It's like there's so many different things. So that's what I'm looking at for this. So in continuation, away from the peaks. They had these traders trapped up here for a whole 2 weeks. So I would say 2 weeks, but a nice week and a half for a drop. They're going to get away from this. There's traders trapped up here right now. That's why there's so many wicks. A lot of people lost money last week. That they're trading away from it. They're not going to go back up there to get those people's contracts back. So we're going to see what happens. Euro AUD. Man, the pair that's been following the rules for the last week and a half. Fucking love it. Thing has been beautiful. It's been a buy ever since. We called it down here. You guys notice the lines that I'm drawing here? What's that? Divergence. Dun, dun, dun. And it's extremely oversold. Holy shit. Extremely oversold. Formed a divergent W. And why do I tell you guys to look for these bounces off the EMAs, right? What I said, break the water, and then what? Come back to retest it. Look what it did. Retested it. Boom. Skyrocket that whole week. What then happened again? Came down for FOMC. Boom. Retested it. Shot back up. New high means what? New low. Pull back. Shoots back up. There is a somewhat, there's divergence here in the overbought zone. But that's the 4 hour. So it still needs some time in order to pull back. It's going to play out. Let me look at the weekly real quick. Weekly. High, higher low, higher high, higher low. Bouncing off the catch up. The daily. It's hitting that water right now. This can consolidate, guys. I don't think this is going to be really moving that much. This is the zone I had it in last week for it to shoot up to. So it did go up to it, hit that resistance, and it dropped back down. But now it's in it again. And look at the EMAs. I don't think this pair is going to really move. It's going to start consolidating. My pair, what are your moving averages set? 5, 13. Yo, could somebody that's actually in this chat that knows my shit put in the EMAs that I use? It'll be in the chat because it's hard to talk about. But ideally, guys, what I'm seeing here on this, when you see the water, so like if you go back test this, if whatever you want to do, when you see the water and the Mayo get really close after reversal, right? So you have price up here, it reversed, it shot down hard. Every time I see this on every higher time frame, when the EMAs are really tight, with like the Mayo and the water are like this after reversal, it always does this shit. It will consolidate. So if you want my prediction on this pair, for those of you that like to sell high, buy low, start setting your support resistance zones now, because I promise you it will follow it. This pair is about to start doing shit like this. And I'm willing to bet money. Not really. I don't want to bet anybody, but just watch and just fucking observe it. Just watch what happens. I don't trust this pair right now. If you want to do anything, maybe a shot down to then retest that high. But that's it. Like this is a trade I need you to not look for a long-term anything, because you're going to be staring at your phone for the next week watching this shit. Like, oh shit. Just wait for this to make a move, okay? So just don't play it. Just be patient. Man, the chat's blowing up right now. Mute yourself, blah, 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 blah. There you go. There you go. All exponential moving averages on the close, based on the close. There you go. Just sniped 33 pips 5 minutes ago on those pairs. My dude. Oh, is there news? What happened? Look at it. Look at it. It's doing it. Go up, you motherfucker. So if this works, when it works, shoots up, shoots down. AUD also likes to throw nice solid patterns as well. Shoots up. Shoots up. Retests. Shoots up again. That's your signal. This is your entry. Or this, if it doesn't take out the low. So that's what y'all waiting for. Let me go to here. So Euro AUD, just be careful on EG. This pair has been fucking consolidated. Do you guys see why we don't look? So this is a prime example for those of you that knew. When the EMAs get really tight, like you're seeing them right here, see how when it hits the high, it drops? See how it hits the low, it rises? Buy low, sell high. This is the exact thing that I expect Euro AUD to do. Not on a level that EG may be on, because it's just been doing it for weeks. But similar to, it's going to start consolidating like this. You're going to see the EMAs kind of get structured in a way that's going to be like, what the fuck is going on? They're going to start going in and out of each other. So that's what I suggest. If you guys are still playing EG, here's the thing. Sell high, buy low. What's the term for the middle? Oh, that's right. There is no term. It's called no man's land. You're guessing here. Stop guessing. Why are you trading in the middle? Why? For those of you that are in this trade right now, whoever is in it, why are you in it? I need a solid explanation as to why the fuck you're trading this pair right now. Or if you say it was a buy down here, I'd be like, good job. Or if it was a sell up here, I'd be like, good job. But if you're stuck here, anywhere between these price zones, I just have to question where you're trading. Why are you trading this pair? That's no man's land. You all remember no man's land from the history books from World War II. No man will survive it. No pimps will be caught. Your money, your bank account will not survive it. I mean, if you really understand this shit, it could possibly work out. But ideally, what I want you guys to do is just wait. If it drops down again, doesn't take out the low, you can buy it. If it comes up here, doesn't take out the high, you can sell it. In the middle, no, don't do shit. So we're not touching this pair. Not until it forms tomorrow. GA, been forming, been shooting up. This is ideally, this is a perfect uptrend. Low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, shooting up, hitting that water. It's going up. It still could shoot up, but I just don't like the way it's setting right now. It's not the best divergence that I like. Let me see this weekly. This could have just been a nice pullback. I think it's going to still shoot up a little bit more. I think GA is still going to be a nice buy. Yeah, guys, look for buys on this pair. Continuations. If anything, stop hunt low, then buy. So if you guys are looking for the most precise entry without going into too much drawdown, I would wait for this thing to drop just a little bit more, because if AUD is actually rising right now, if it continues to rise, that means GA is going to shoot down, probably pull back, and then it's going to form that pattern that I was telling you guys about, right? So I want this thing to eventually keep shooting up, which is allowing me to then presume that AU is going to keep shooting down. So ideally, it's a downtrend. Once it hits that water, you can sell it because it's a downtrend. It's going to go down and retest that low. So you can place your take profit at the recent low or at the wick or at the close of the candles, whichever one you want to do. GA is going to be a little different. You just got to wait for it to shoot down a little bit more, about maybe around this area, around to the water. And you can look for a sell there or a buy there. Let me just see if I can draw this out in the trend line real quick. For those of you that like trend lines, I know a lot of you do actually. We'll draw this one. About there. It's not the best one. You got a couple zones. It only takes two trend lines or two lines to make a trend line. So you got this zone about here. All right. So that's what you guys are going to be looking for. And then once it hits that zone, doesn't take out this low, you can look for a buy. Simple as that. But it's going to require a little bit of patience. Don't just buy it to buy it. I would wait for it to drop down a little bit more, and then you can get on the retest to one of the trend lines, whichever one it hits and then forms the right pattern. W, Railroad, Morningstar, whichever one. All right, let's go to G Chief, and then we'll do gold to end it off. G Chief, yes! Finally! It's about damn time. Been waiting for this thing to drop for a long time, since last week. I actually had it for a sell around here. I was like, it's going to be an overall sell, but the last few days was FOMC, and obviously like shit days were crazy. But it broke the trend line here. I actually want to refine this because it looks ugly as shit. I could do this. This would be ideal. There we go. And what I'll do is I'll add it up with these. There you go. 1, 2, 3, retest 4. Y'all know what I'm going to say, right? I hope. Does anybody know what I'm going to say right now? Do I have to explain myself? Did someone guess right now what's going to happen based off of just this technical analysis as we see? Yes? Sell, sell, sell. Good job. Buy, dude. Let's go, Alexis. So sell. That's just common sense. It's just that's normal technicals. So yeah, y'all are just looking for, if you want to be perfect with it, retest that water, sell. See how it goes. All right, and then we'll do gold. Man, that drop. This is what I've been waiting for. I've had these lines drawn up for a minute now. I had this trend line 1, 2, it obeyed it last week. I had this line, it obeyed it again. This is why I didn't have anything on gold for the longest time. I've been telling people it's more likely to be a sell because of the fact that it took out certain lows. All right, because here's the thing. This point right here, and I'll circle it too. That was the most recent low. These were the most recent lows. This was the new low. This was the pullback. That was the continuation. Notice how this drop was almost the same size as this drop. That's why I was telling people overall to look for sells, but at the same time I said don't play it because it's consolidating. You're guessing. Just wait for the move. And look where it went down to, right down to that support trend line. So I believe it's actually going to pull back because guess what? New low. That was the recent low. New low right here. Pull back. Possible retest. And we all know gold. If you don't know gold, gold's one of the most technical pairs that you can trade. Trend line, support, resistance, M's, W's, they throw the most. So you can literally come in and like scalp your trades on any time frame. It works. Here it's divergent as shit. So either it's going to come up, hit that water, retest, come back down, break the water, retest, shoot up to that Mayo, form up M, drop back down to retest the low. That's my analysis. That's what you're going to be waiting for. Shot up to the water, the 50 EMA, drop back down, or breaks the water, retests the 50 EMA, shoots up to the 200 EMA, throws an M, drops. So that's what you're going to be looking for. Cool. All right, so we had a lot of people on this call today. Now, I want to ask if anybody has any questions. Let me know real quick, just on certain pairs that we already looked at. This isn't like a training session. I could do training sessions later, but if anybody has a question over the pairs we just went over, let me know. If not, if you guys have not been inside of my group chart analysis, because I know most of you came from different links, I have a group chart analysis called CCT Winner Circle, and this whole thing was recorded. So I'm going to put it up on YouTube. I'm going to take the YouTube link. I'm going to put it inside of my chart analysis, inside of like my Facebook page, and you can rewatch this webinar and all the previous ones from the last 4 months. I think I've only missed 2 days. So if you want to catch them, if you don't have the time to see them live, you can rely on my shit being there for when you get back. It's going to be at 6 o'clock PST every night, Sunday to Thursday. Fridays I don't do it because the market closes. Saturdays, markets are closed completely, and I start back on Sunday. So if you guys want to catch up on this stuff and you want to see what we can start doing and you want to get better at your own analysis, because I have plenty of people on here who have not paid me a single dime and have learned more content in this chart analysis than they have paid other people to do it. Just don't abuse the fucking system. You know, don't go crazy with it. But can you please look over at AJ? Damn you. Damn you asking me to do more pairs. How did you know I was too nice? I'm just kidding. I'm not too nice. But I'll do AJ for you. I got you. AJ dropped too, I believe. Oh, that was a nice little drop ski you had. Oh, this one's easy. This was easy to sell. Hell yeah. Just off of this lower time frame alone. Comes down, broke the low. It's forming a bearish pattern. That's a channel. Literally a bearish channel for this up. Come on. Sorry, my charts are being really slow right now. What's my Telegram? I have a private one. I got it to the top. You got in at the top? Is that what you saying? Because if you got it at the top, like, it is fringing, but I definitely suggest that you be careful. It depends. Because like you could hold this thing for a long-term sell, but if you don't want to watch your account go back to zero, I mean, it's at a good spot right now that it's been rejecting for a minute. And it seems to be doing it right now. It's oversold as fuck. 1 hour is divergent. You see that? Look at this. What does divergence lead to? You guys just saw my analysis. AFPs, head and shoulders, reversals. Oh, it's divergent here. Why can't I draw a goddamn line? Stop being difficult. Look, the divergence actually starts here. What is happening to my charts? Head and shoulder. Yeah, ideally, but it's not like the best one. This is where it was diverging. From this point down is when the divergence started. Right here. So I believe it's actually because of the overall trend it's been going through. I do see it as an overall sell, but it is hitting a point that is very susceptible to shooting up. Divergent. I was like, what the fuck? People drawing shit on my keyboard? I'm just kidding. All right. But yeah, I would look for that. I'm just saying, if you're in a sell right now, I would just take profit. Because it's not going to move too crazy. Like, it doesn't, see how like it barely moves, like out of all the days, like what's going to say it's going to keep dropping that far? Or you're trying to guess then. So I would just be smart and just take profit and then look for a re-entry as it pulls back. There's no need to watch your profits go up and down like that, and it's not worth it. Me too, always cool. Good. All right, cool. No problem, Jeff. All right, guys. So that's tonight's analysis. Thanks for hopping on. I'm gonna put it up on YouTube, and then I will put the post inside of my Facebook group. So if you're not in it, add yourself, get involved. It's free. Don't charge shit. But I do take donations of upwards of $10 billion. So however you guys want to do it, my PayPal is no, I'm just kidding. But let's do it. Excited. Let's kill it. And yeah, see you guys tomorrow.
Bye, Thor.
Later.